All right. So let's get into the nuts and bolts, crafting your tools. So I'm going to talk about log lines, pitch packets, and proofs of concept. Okay, so what is a log line? This is maybe the number one thing that people have questions about when it comes to pitching. So a log line is essentially this: it's one sentence, almost always. Sometimes there's two, but let's, for the purposes of like making it easier on yourself, just think about it as one sentence. If you try and cram too much, it's not going to work. One sentence that tells the who and the what of your story, and the what is really two things. It's the goal and the obstacle. So who is the hero or heroes of the story? What are they trying to accomplish? And what is stopping them from accomplishing it? Theoretically, you can put all that in a log line. You've got a good log line. Okay? Not to be confused with taglines. Taglines are short little sentences, and they're used for posters and trailers. They're for marketing the movie after it's been made, whereas log lines help you market the movie before it gets made, right? Taglines are not your job, or if they are, it's not till down the line, so don't worry about those. But taglines can be fun. So there's some taglines for movies that I like Dumb and Dumber, the first one, or Ghostbusters, and the third one. Not a lot of people know the third one. Take a guess, take a guess. It is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. And we scare because we care. Monsters Inc. I don't know why there's a monster theme on these taglines, but anyway, these are cool taglines, but they're not log lines. They're, if you know the movie, if you've seen the trailer, if you've looked at the poster, these taglines might help, but log lines are something totally different. So let's go into movie log lines, which are slightly different from TV log lines, although they're basically the same, but we're going to show some subtle differences here. So here's a movie that came out earlier this year, Six Underground, and here's the log line that you can get from Netflix, the Netflix original, by the way. So after faking his death, a tech billionaire recruits a team of international operatives for a bold and bloody mission to take down a brutal dictator. All right. So here's our three elements. Who's the who? A tech billionaire. That's and the recruits a team of international operatives. That's our hero. Right. What is their objective? What's their goal? They want to take down a brutal dictator. What's stopping them? Well, the brutal dictator. The goal to take down someone is also the thing stopping them. Okay. Makes sense. Let's see another version of this, though. Meet a new kind of action hero. 6 untraceable agents totally off the grid. They've buried their past so they can change the future. I hate this logline. And loglines are all subjective. There is no right or wrong logline for any given project. You just kind of know them as you feel them on what you like. And what you like may not be necessarily what the person you're pitching to likes. But, like, it's your project. So the logline you like should go with it. So this, obviously, I didn't work on this at all. But I think this log line is silly. It doesn't tell me, okay, 6 untraceable agents, that's the hero. I don't know or care. They're off the grid. Okay, cool. They've buried their pasts. Fine. They can change the future. What does that mean? What is their goal to change the future? That doesn't tell me their obstacle or their goal. Their goal's so generic. I don't care.
Oh, 600.
All right. Here's one for Django. This is from Netflix. Accompanied by a German bounty hunter, a freed slave named Django travels across America to free his wife from a sadistic plantation owner. Okay, cool. So who's our hero? We got two. We got Django, obviously the titular character, and the German bounty hunter. What are they trying to do? Free his wife. What's their obstacle? There's a sadistic plantation owner. Okay, it's all there. So you might like that one. Here's another version. With the help of a German bounty hunter, a freed slave sets out to rescue his wife from a brutal Mississippi plantation owner. So very similar, but what I like about this one is a freed slave sets out to rescue his wife, right? Whereas a freed slave travels across America to free his wife. I didn't like the word free twice there. I thought that's not the best writing.
Redundant.
Trace, go ahead and mute yourself if you don't mind. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, sorry.
So, you know, for me, you know, and they're subtle. Again, you might like the first one versus the second one. It doesn't really matter. It's about looking at loglines and feeling at what speaks to you. All right? If you're not familiar with the movie Ex Machina, it's a sci-fi kind of thriller thing going. It's I wouldn't say a horror movie per se, but it's kind of got those like suspense elements. And here's one. A coder at a tech company wins a week-long retreat at the compound of his company's CEO, where he's tasked with testing a new artificial intelligence. Boring. I don't care about him testing a new artificial intelligence. Maybe in the 1980s, like we would, ooh, artificial intelligence, what's that? That's interesting. But we know what artificial intelligence is now. That's not interesting. And the whole wins a week long retreat. I've seen the movie 3 times. I barely remember that part. That is not the interesting part. I think this is a terrible logline for this movie. Here's another one. A young programmer is selected to participate in a groundbreaking experiment in synthetic intelligence by evaluating the human qualities of a highly advanced humanoid AI. Better. I get it a little better. I'm a little more intrigued. However, it still does not clue me in at all that there might be murder, there might be, a lot of fear, a lot of mystery. All that seems to be missing from this. So I couldn't find a logline for this movie that I liked, by the way, and I don't know what a good one would be, but it would have something to do to let me understand the fact that there's a suspense here, there's a thrill. That these loglines feel, I don't know, they're not interesting to me. All right, it's a movie that if you haven't seen, it's like a hybrid of like action and romantic comedy movie called Mr. Right. Fresh off a bad relationship, thrill-seeking Martha finds romance in danger with Francis, a hitman who's decided to turn the tables on his clients. Okay, cool. Who's our hero, Martha? What's her goal? Like, romance with Francis, whereas his lifestyle is killing people who hire him. Which I don't know. I still like. Here's the thing about loglines: you could change, like, what about this word, or what if I did this, or whatever. You could change them forever and still not be satisfied with them, just like your screenplays or anything else. Again, I've seen the movie. I like the movie. I don't much care for this logline personally. Here's another one. A girl falls for the perfect guy who happens to have a very fatal flaw. He's a hitman on the run from crime cartels who employ him. I like this logline because even though there's a lot more to the movie than this logline, and that's true of every logline, a girl falls for the perfect guy. Okay, romance, easy. A girl falls for a guy, done. What's his flaw? He's a hitman on the run from crime cartels. So you've got automatic, we get stakes, we get action, there's romance. Like, it's a romantic comedy with action. Like, we get it. And here's another one. A woman comes to a crossroad when she finds out that her new beau, weird, is a professional assassin who kills the people who hire him instead of the intended targets. I like this one too. I don't know which one I would go with, the second one or the third one. Definitely not the first one. But like, if I was in charge, like, this movie's already made, so they don't need it. But like, if I was in charge of this logline, I probably would have hybridized the second and the third one personally. Okay, so those are movie log lines, and you can see with movie log lines, there's a bit of a finite nature to it, right? Like, here's the arc. TV log lines, probably ahead of me on this one, they're going to be a little bit more open because there's more going on. So here's Veronica Mars. After her best friend is murdered and her father's removed as county sheriff, Veronica Mars dedicates her life to cracking the toughest mysteries in the affluent town of Neptune. So you get that, oh, this is... Okay, who's the hero? Veronica Mars. What's she doing? She's solving mysteries, right? Why? Because her friend was murdered. Her father was removed. She's got all this drama. Like, okay, cool. It's still a little, like, I get her. This logline is really good about giving me the hero. But, like, solve the toughest mysteries. Like, okay, I guess. Here's another one, and this is the same one that had on Hulu and Amazon Prime. In the wealthy seaside community of Neptune, California, the rich and powerful make up the rules. Unfortunately for them, there's Veronica Mars, a smart, fearless 17-year-old apprentice, private investigator dedicating to solving the town's toughest mysteries. I don't like this one as much because even though it says smart and fearless apprentice, private investigator, I'm not as on board with this as with the hero who her father was removed and her best friend was murdered. To me, that's a little bit better there. And as far as solving the town's toughest mysteries, yes, she does that. But what I think is more important is the fact that she's trying to figure out who murdered her best friend. That's the arc of the whole thing. So I would include that in there somewhere. And then this is off Google. Veronica Mars used to be the popular girl with the cool friends and the jock boyfriend. A series of personal and family traumas have made an outcast, albeit one with a sarcastic side and a snarky sense of humor. Now she helps her private investigator father dig into the lives of rich and famous in the messed up town of Newton, California. Way too long. Way too long. But something interesting about this that it really plays a lot into the show is that she used to be popular and now she's the outcast. So, like, I like that part of it, but still, like, her goal doesn't really come through to me on this one. All right, this is if you're familiar with it, they remade She-Ra Princess of Power a few years ago. Here's the logline for that, or some. She-Ra, Princess of Power, leads a rebellion to free her land of Etheria from the monstrous invaders, the Horde. Tells you everything you want to know. You know everything about it. But I don't know. If they're playing two people who already knew the She-Ra brand from the '80s, they probably don't need to say much. But like this show, at least on my watching, was probably more like for younger people who wouldn't have any idea what the original was. So to me, this is kind of still a little watered down. This one definitely speaks to people who know it from the 80s. In this reboot of a 1980s series, a magic sword transforms an orphan girl into warrior She-Ra, who unites a rebellion to fight against evil. So I like this one a lot. Even if you took out the reboot of the 80s series part and were just said the rest of it, a magic sword, orphan girl, warrior She-Ra, unites a rebellion. Like, to me, this has all the elements. Like, I really like this log line. There's of course, there's a lot of nuance to the series that's not in this. It's true of every logline, but you get the general gist. She's there with a rebellion. They're fighting against evil, etc. Soldier Adora finds a magic sword in her identity as legendary hero She-Ra. She joins the rebellion, but her best friend stays with the evil horde. So this takes almost a totally different approach, because part of the whole thing of this TV show is that her best friend's on the other side, and they've got that relationship going, which is cool. I don't know. I like the orphan girl transforming into a hero a little bit better than the soldier who finds a magic sword. Which both are true, it's like, but which one's going to be a little more intriguing? Here's Breaking Bad. A high school chemistry teacher diagnosed with inoperable lung cancer turns to manufacturing and selling methamphetamine in order to secure his family's future. Cool. I get it. All right, high school teacher, methamphetamine feels a little clinical to me. Family future. What's bothering? Like, okay, this. If you've seen the show, this doesn't blow my skirt up, right? This is not like super interesting to me. Here's a different one. A high school chemistry teacher dying of cancer teams with a former student to secure his family's future by manufacturing and selling crystal meth. So I like this one better. It ends on crystal meth, which is like more like that's a powerful word. Like, whoa, crystal meth, And if we were thinking about this before we saw or heard of Breaking Bad, like that was a big deal at that point, right? And this logline probably wouldn't have sold the TV show originally, because originally the Jesse Pinkman character was only supposed to be in the first episode, not a recurrent character throughout the whole thing. This logline, of course, is after the fact. Here's one for Marvelous Ms. Maisel. A housewife in the 1960s decides to become a stand-up comic. Now, here's why I love this logline, and I can totally see why a lot of people wouldn't. Because to me, if you understand already that in the 1960s, the idea of a woman becoming a stand-up comic already is fraught with so much conflict. How's she going to get past this obstacle? Like, my brain automatically fills in a lot of the details just from knowing about this stuff. But if you don't know that ahead of time, you might not get it, right? So, like, who are you pitching to? What is their base of knowledge? What do they get about it? That was very short. Here's a very long line for it. In 1958, Midge Maisel's life is on track. Husband, kids, and an elegant Yom Kippur dinners in their Upper West Side apartment. But when her life takes a surprise turn, she has to quickly decide what else she's good at. And going from housewife to stand-up comic is a wild choice to everyone but her. Like, it's more, but I'm also bored. Like, it's so long. And this is more than one sentence. Like, I wouldn't... If this show didn't exist and you were pitching it and you were like, hey, look at my log line, I would be like, cut it in half. So here's an exercise. So kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier. Pick a movie or TV show that you're familiar with that already exists and write a log line for it. Again, you won't be as precious with this because there's no stakes to it. You're not trying to sell a show that already exists. But it will just help you practice log lines. And so what I would do is I would like take a show and I'd write a log line one day and I'd try and forget about it. And the next day I'd write another one, and the next day I'd write another, and I'd write like 5. And then I'd like on day 6, I'd put them all on the screen and go, okay, which one of these do I like? How can I like take from one? Are there any one of these that stand out? And it would help me kind of figure out, okay, if I didn't know this show, if I was trying to sell this show to someone who didn't know it, which of these log lines really seems to pop for me? So it's you can do this as much as you want. Take any project out there that already exists and just let me practice logline writing. Okay, let's talk about pitch packets, treatments, pitch decks, series Bibles. So I put all these four of these terms in this one slide because I've heard them all used interchangeably. So in the part of the industry that someone resides in, maybe the word pitch packets has a very different connotation than word treatments. But again, I've heard different people from different parts of the industry use these interchangeably. So when I say these, I'm going to basically be meaning the same thing. All right, so what are the elements to a pitch packet? Well, there's no set format. I think a lot of my students, and I certainly was the same, like, can I just have a cut and paste? Can you just give me the blanks and I'll fill it in? Nope. The creativity that you put into your screenplay is the same creativity you would put into your pitch packet. What's the point of a pitch packet? It's a commercial, albeit a written one, for your project. What is the format and genre of, it's amazing how many pitch packets I've seen that don't tell me the genre. I'm like, is this an action? Is this a comedy? What are we dealing with here? Is it a half hour? Is it a full hour? Is it a 2 hour movie? Is it a limited series? What are we dealing with? Summaries of the plot, summaries of the season, summaries of the characters, just little bite-sized chunks that, again, show me a preview of what is in your project. Future episodes, so this is for TV, obviously, but like some people put a pitch packet together about the pilot, and I'm like, that's cool. No one is buying just the pilot. They're buying one thing, it's a movie. If they're buying a pilot, it's because they want to make a series. So what stories do you have? Where can you take these characters? What's going to happen in the future? Personalities, who's working on it with you, right? Do you have an actor attached, a director attached, a producer, an agent, something like that? Tell us. Aesthetics. So a pitch packet, I've seen some that are just black text on white paper, and I've never seen any of those that intrigued me. Again, maybe in a particular corner of the industry I don't want pictures or anything, but like most pitch packets I've seen that look like they're worth a damn have photos, they have, typography, they have a graphic sense to them. And then multiple drafts. So it's amazing how lazy we are, and I say this for me as much as, or more than anyone else, is we'll work for months on our screenplays. But then when it comes to our pitch packet, we just want to get it done in a night. It's like, you need multiple drafts of your logline. You need multiple drafts of your summaries. You need multiple drafts. Like, this is a project. This is work. This is, even though your pitch packet will never be seen by the masses, right? It's an important to get there in order to sell it to people that will help get it made so that it can be seen by the masses, right? The project itself. And proofs of concept. So this is just, back in the day, this was almost never done because it was too expensive. Nowadays, it's pretty much the standard. If you are, if you can film something, if you can put something on video that not even necessarily that will make it into the final project, but just gives me a sense. Again, it's a movie trailer. It's a commercial. What can you give to the person who you're pitching to that will give them a sense of what it is you're trying to pitch? So proof of concept might be a web series to try and sell a TV show, or some people I've seen put together a little trailer, obviously not with the quality that they would use in filming the movie, but or sometimes, but mostly not. A trailer for a movie that they're trying to pitch, different things like that. So think outside the box. There's no right or wrong way to do a pitch packet. There's no right or wrong way to do a proof of concept. But your goal is to intrigue and sell. And if you'd like to follow me for anything else, I teach pitching, I teach improv, I teach stand-up, I teach a number of things, and you can find me at Rich Baker Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. So, thank you very much. So this...